Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Too Critical Podcast. This is episode 3. This is actually part 2 of 3 episodes that we recorded with Mitch Hallock, our special guest. We spoke to Mitch for about 3 hours and 56 minutes, and we decided to chop it up into 3 segments, a trilogy of sorts, because Mitch is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to comics and television and film, all things Marvel and DC, pizza places in Connecticut, and also the TV show MASH. And we really just have a good time talking to Mitch. He's a really fun guy, and we really enjoy it. So this is part 2 of 3 of the Mitch Hallock interview on the Too Critical Podcast, coming at you like Clarence Thomas in a singles bar.
You want to do some blow?
No, I don't.
So the next day I called Tom. I'm like, Tom, they made Luke Skywalker a bitch. I said, it's fucking horrible. Last Jedi, I'm not joking. Last Jedi is my least favorite of all the Star Wars movies. And it's for one reason. It's not necessarily because it is the worst of the Star Wars movies. It's because I had the highest expectations with the lowest outcome. Because for me, New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Jedi, Return of the Jedi, those are all after my time. I didn't see them in theater. So the first movie I saw in theater was Phantom Menace, then Attack of the Clones, then Revenge of the Sith. So again, for me, as a Star Wars fan, a huge Star Wars fan, I'm struggling this whole time. Like, I really want to like this, but they haven't made a good movie since before I saw movies in theaters. And I think that's why I loved Force Awakens, because it was just decent. I feel like I've overrated it because of where it was. And I know Tom and I had this whole script of we're going to talk to Mitch about this stuff. And we could do a whole episode of Indiana Jones and a whole episode of Star Wars. And you know what? I'm already realizing we're going to need to do that.
Yeah.
But for a comic expert and someone that, you know, was obsessed with Lucasfilm, and Tom's the same way.
Yeah. I've been there.
You guys are both before my time.
Yep.
I don't think I'm overstating this, that The Last Jedi was the largest disappointment of my life.
Phantom Menace was up there before The Last Jedi.
I thought, hey.
Because I went to that theater, kid, and I was like, we were so excited because they had just released the original movies with special editions like years
I saw
earlier.
those in theaters too. Yep.
Yeah, so we were all like, yeah, it's going to be great again. It's going to be great. And that's another one. When the lights came up, I went with my friend Dave McMahon.
What the fuck?
We just like, I got to go see it again tomorrow because we had bought tickets for like the next day at 9:00 to go see it again, you know? And I'm like, I got to let this sink in because there were parts of it that I liked because I get it was like a new story and it wasn't going to be the same. But then there was like the whole midichlorian thing. And I was like, what? No, man, I thought you could be a Jedi if you just were a good guy. And I didn't think it was in your blood test, you know? So that bothered me. But now I look back at that movie, it's like a piece of great art because I'm like,
compared to The
Last
Last
Jedi, the Phantom Menace is like, you know, the Sistine Chapel.
So where are you with? I mean, I'm going to assume you're similar to me, which is Last Jedi is the biggest
worst.
disappointment.
Yeah, the worst.
Where's Rise of Skywalker?
Let me see. I got Star Wars is always the best one for me because it was the first one I saw. I know
For me, it's Empire. Then
people
Star
love
Wars.
Empire, but I was like, I remember when Empire came out that summer. I only saw it like 3 times.
See, I didn't get to see it live.
I was so mad because they, Han Solo got taken away, and we had to wait 3 years. You don't understand? 3 years is a long time when you're 12 or 13.
You're telling me I've been waiting for Black Widow for months?
You don't know what it's like to wait.
Stranger Things 4. Where's Stranger Things 4? I need to know where Harper is.
Chief Jim Hopper.
Where is David Harper?
So anyway,
Let's try this again.
Jim Hopper.
I'm sorry?
David Harper. Jim Hopper.
I'd say Rise of Skywalker. I actually like Rogue One. When that came out, I didn't like it, but now looking back, it's one of the better ones.
That's rewatching it. It's better.
I'd say Revenge of the Sith is there, then Phantom Menace, then Rise of Skywalker. The bottom would be Last Jedi, and then Attack of the Clones.
I'm similar. I put Revenge of the Sith down there for one reason. I agree that
No,
the
not
movie.
on the bottom. It's more towards the top.
I disagree, and here's
Really?
why. Yeah, here's why. I agree on the quality of the picture. Yes.
Yeah.
However, seeing Anakin Skywalker turn into Darth Vader should have been one of the fucking coolest things we ever fucking saw.
Instead of like,
Ever.
what have I done?
I still have friends that call me and go,
You were the chosen one.
Oh,
they
that's
do that
Obi-Wan.
as a prank. That movie came out how many years ago?
2005. 2005.
So again, I don't think that Revenge of the Sith is necessarily Last Jedi bad.
Yeah.
It's just seeing Anakin become Darth Vader should have been one of the coolest goddamn things we ever saw.
But there's a problem with that too, and I had that with Revenge of the Sith, Return of the Jedi, and Lucas said it too, and I agree with him. You make your own movie in your head, and they're never going to get close to what you got in that sucker because you'll go there with expectations that they're never going to meet, and if it doesn't come out, that's why I like the Infinity War and Endgame.
I was just gonna say,
I didn't see coming. I was like, I didn't know they were going to do it like that.
Mitch, I have to stop you for 1 second. Tom, after my first viewing of Avengers Endgame, what did I tell you?
You wanted to open a live bait shop in San Francisco.
I was wildly disappointed.
Yes.
After my second viewing, what did I say? Maybe one of my favorite movies ever.
Yeah. But again, it was the ultimate hype. That there was never any more hype in history than before that movie.
No,
Ivan Drago didn't have as much hype in Russia.
No, Force Awakens, there was a huge hype on that side.
No, but Avengers Endgame, Tom and I talked on the phone
Yeah.
every day for a year.
Yeah. What do you think's going to happen? What do you think's going to happen?
I mean, I had so many theories that made no sense because I didn't read comics. I'm not Mitch Hallock.
Yeah.
I'm the janitor of the nerds, not the king of the nerds.
All right.
And I was so excited for the movie. And it's so funny because I set unrealistic expectations that couldn't have been met by anything. And we left the theater, and everyone else loved it. Everyone I saw the movie with loved it. And I was like, I don't know.
No, I tell you, I was worried during that movie when they were still just talking. And then they were like, oh, what about this quantum thing? And maybe we do time travel. And that, you got to understand, that's about 40 minutes into that movie and nothing happens. And I'm like, is something going to happen? You know? And then when they did the time heist, it's kind of cute.
Yeah.
But you're like, again, I waited all year to see this, and we're 2 hours into this.
It's not my favorite.
When the hell is going to get good? And as soon as the Hulk does the snap, that's
the movie goes
fucking
apeshit.
roll. Oh my God, it's the roller coaster ride at Disney World. It doesn't stop until the end credits, and it's that 40 minutes of movie time.
Amazing.
One of the best freaking amazing experiences of my life. I was like,
I'll send you a copy of it. Every time a Marvel movie comes out, I do an updated Marvel power rankings. And it, of course, incites riot in everybody because no one can agree on anything. Yeah. So until this movie came out, I think Tom, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think I've now officially moved it to number 1, mainly because of how impressive it was at the ending, fitting everything in. For the longest time.
Oh, God, yeah. I got to give them credit, dude. They tie up
the Russo brothers are amazing.
Many things. It's like,
did you hear today? I saw an article today that they want to tackle Wolverine next.
I heard that's good. Dude, I'm going to tell you, and Tom knows because Tom, where were you born? 73, 75?
Oh, hey, Tom.
77.
How's it going, Tom?
77. Okay.
All right now.
So you didn't see Return of the Jedi in the theaters, did you? Could have been about 6.
He's never seen it ever.
I did. My mother right now, I'm not kidding you, is texting me. That's You can't see it.
See it.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna send her a message on Facebook right now.
What does it say, Tom?
This list, it's a image of the list of the order that you're supposed to watch all of the Marvel films. You can see it a little bit right there.
Dude, the reason why I got into all these like Star Trek, my mom would watch Star Trek.
Right.
And I watched that when I was a kid, and that's how I got into all the, the sci-fi stuff. My mom's the one that took me to Logan's Run and Star Wars. My dad was working all the time. He didn't have time to go take me to a movie unless it was a war movie. Then we went to go see them all. Bridge Too Far. What was the one with the ship that goes back in time? The Nimitz.
Oh, the Philadelphia Experiment.
No, not the Philadelphia Experiment. That's a different
ship.
Oh, with
Kirk
Douglas,
with Martin Sheen.
Yeah, they go back with the Nimitz to Pearl Harbor. My dad took me to see that movie. He was so excited.
Wall Street.
He thought they were going to stop the Japanese from attacking World War.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, here's the setup, and I'll always remember this. Return of the Jedi. I skipped school.
Awesome.
I'm in high school. It's junior year of high school. So I skipped school, and the local news was there, and you couldn't buy tickets ahead of time. There was none of this nonsense buying tickets. You had to go to the theater and get your ass in line and hope that you got a seat inside the theater. But thank God the theaters were big, and they held like 900 people. It wasn't these little mini crap things, So I'm there in the morning. There's people out there. Marvel had released the Return of the Jedi comic book adaptation.
I liked the film, but there are some parts that were hard to understand, such as how a simple boy from the country can fly a spaceship and shoot a gun and hit right on target. And that Princess Leia was sure bossy. I'm Alvin Fitz from Toronto, and that's entertainment.
What are you doing? So I remember people playing games, and they're talking, they're reading Splinter in the Mind's Eye, because there was only 4 Star Wars books, maybe a Lando Calrissian book. So we go into the theater, and every seat is sold in second. You can't breathe, okay? I remember the fire marshal being next to me, and this poor kid skinny kid with glasses, he's like, I'll sit on the floor. And the fire marshal I can't allow that, son. It's a safety precaution. I gotta see this movie.
Yeah, the fire marshal said that through a lit cigarette.
That's not the first time that Mitch has had a problem with a fire marshal either. I've heard about some Terrificon in Connecticut.
Crazy shit going on. So anyway, there's the guy. So this kid's begging the guy to let me sit somewhere. So whatever. Next to me, I went by myself. So I'm there. I can't remember who dropped me off. Maybe my dad did. So I'm there watching the movie. This big motorcycle Hell's Angel guy comes in. There used to be this character actor. Tom will know who I was, or what I'm talking about. He was on he would play every biker guy there was in the 80s. He was this big, heavy guy. So he's there, and he comes in, and he brings in this fella that's sitting next to him, who I don't know what the thing was. The man had no arms. Okay, he had stunted arms, so his hands were up here.
Perfect.
Okay.
Honest to God.
Okay. No. So this kid is there, and this guy comes in with him, this big motorcycle guy, and he comes in with this fella who's got his hands here. He doesn't have arms.
Right.
So they're watching, and they sit right next to me, and I'm in towards the back of the movie, and they're watching the movie, and the guy's helping the kid, with the soda and all this stuff, and to eat his popcorn. So the end of the movie comes. The end of the movie comes, and everyone's cheering. This is when people would clap in the movies.
Except him.
No. I'm going to get to that. So, Luke's there, and when they're walking on the gangplank, din, and also din, and the whole theater's like, yeah, Luke. Yay! And it's the end of the movie. The Emperor's got Luke on the ground, killing him with the Force lightning. You don't know what's going to happen because this is the last Star Wars movie. Luke could die for all we know. We don't really know what's going to happen. We don't know we don't know about episode 7, 8, 9.
And you know why 6 was afraid?
Why?
Because 7, 8, 9.
Fuck.
What the fuck?
Fuck you. I was the one that was going to tell the bad joke to end the episode. You cunt. Oh.
His fucking face. He's like, oh, really? Spoilers about 6? Who's 6? I haven't heard of 6 yet.
God damn it.
7, 8, 9.
God
Holy fuck, did you get catfished?
So
789.
the guy,
I was letting it go. Mitch, it's not your fault.
what, episode 789?
No, you'll see it. Tom pulled the 789 joke on me when
Oh, all
talking
right,
about
all right.
Stranger
Listen,
Things,
sorry,
and
go
he pulled
ahead.
it off.
Oh, I
There you
know.
go.
Okay. So anyway, there's Luke screaming. There's the music's playing loud could be. Everybody's on the edge of their seat, man. You know.
Yeah.
He's like, "Father, help me!" You know. And you see Darth Vader's head look. There's none of that. No, they added that later on, right?
Yeah.
So he looks over at him. The biker guy jumps out of his seat. Popcorn goes flying everywhere. He's pointing at the screen like they can hear him. Goes, "Save him, you asshole!" The whole theater goes, "Ah!" And all of a sudden you see Darth Vader grab the Emperor. Dun, 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 dun. The whole theater is on their feet, screaming and clapping. And this is when I look over. The guy that had no arms, he had his hands up here, and the big guy would slap his hands to make an applause thing. And I'm like, and the kid's got tears coming out of his eyes, and I'm looking over there watching them clap like that, which is just mind-boggling. And it's the greatest moment in movie history, okay? And there's popcorn everywhere. Everyone's screaming, Darth Vader saved Luke Skywalker. And then they go to take the helmet off. And I remember that you could hear a pin drop in that theater because everyone's like, oh, what's he going to look like?
Yeah.
Is he
And they
gonna
said
be
James Earl Jones is white.
Yeah, so they pulled it off. They see him, you know. And then at the end, when the three ghosts show up, not that Hayden Christensen, but the real
Force Ghost,
Sebastian
yeah, the
Shaw,
real
the
ghost,
old one,
yeah,
the original
yeah.
old Anakin. I remember this woman screaming, "Oh my God!" She's just crying so much, and that's how Return of the Jedi ended. It wasn't until Endgame when you
Avengers
saw,
Assemble.
when the hammer comes flying into Cap's hand. That's
The
when-
loudest applause I've ever heard.
Oh my God! Well, that's what it was. Next to the Return of the Jedi applause.
Jesus.
The dude jumped out of the seat next to me. He's like, "Yeah!"
That's.
You know?
I was waiting for you to finish that story.
Yeah.
To tell you the loudest applause I've ever heard was when Cap first
Put
pulled
his hand out.
Mjolnir
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
I mean, it was insane.
And then followed by On Your Left. That was the next
Oh.
big thing.
Yes.
It was.
Yeah. Well, that or Avengers
Assemble.
Assemble. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
But the way the Russo brothers let everything breathe because they have the opportunity to let it build.
Yeah.
I mean, if the movie wasn't 3+ hours long, they would never be able to take the time to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's so
What
great.
did you think though at the very end though when Cap's an old man? You all right with that?
yes and no.
Okay. 'Cause a lot of people tell me I don't like the fact that he was an old guy. I'm like,
No, I'm okay with it because there are so many characters that they can bring in.
yeah.
And more importantly, with multiverse and time travel,
Oh yeah, you know something's gonna happen. Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. isn't making Dr. Doolittle 2.
Nope.
So
No, he's-
they can all come back. They can do whatever they want.
Yes.
I am, if you told me rank your superheroes, Batman's number 1 and then
Yeah.
the next 50 are Marvel.
Yeah.
Maybe Superman mixes in somewhere. The cinematic universe for Marvel,
yeah.
it's in, what are we at now? 23?
23,
4?
24 movies, something like that. Yeah.
And now we're on the first TV series, well, not counting Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
first,
Or the Netflix pictures, yeah.
I said again. I love Daredevil.
Doing great, buddy.
Daredevil was great. Yeah.
I'm not a huge
liked
fan of
Luke
Iron
Cage,
Fist.
too. Yeah, I didn't like.
I'm not a
Luke
huge
Cage.
fan of Iron Fist. I like Luke Cage. I didn't hate Jessica Jones.
Yeah,
I
it's
hated
alright.
parts of it.
Yeah.
But Iron Fist, I could do without.
Yeah,
I love the fact that
agree.
I've heard rumors that Charlie Cox could appear. So Tom warned me because he knows I'm Scatterbrain Jane. That's me.
Yeah.
When we have Mitch on,
Yeah.
we need to stick to
Oh,
comic.
that's all right. Real quick, we'll discuss. Rob, what's the worst Marvel movie?
Ooh,
I know
ooh.
what he's gonna say.
No one agrees with me.
Go ahead.
Captain Marvel.
No,
No.
Christ, I watched that last night. What a
I know,
fucking
it sounds-
turd.
No, it's not a turd. You're a hater. It's not great, but it's not a turd. I forget what I put in my power ranking.
Wasn't it
rankings.
Iron Man 3?
That is the most overrated.
Yeah,
by
I'll give you
far.
that.
I hate Iron Man 3.
I
Thor
don't
2.
hate it. It just didn't know what it was going to be. It was like a comedy. I'm like, it's.
But if you deleted that movie, it wouldn't affect the MCU, which I know is a selfish thing to say, but it doesn't affect it. Thor 2, other than the ether,
No.
I don't love Thor 2. I didn't like Doctor Strange. The movie
I
is
thought
important.
Doctor Strange was kind of dull. I don't really
It's
watch
important
it when it's on.
It's important to introduce the character.
Yeah,
However,
but the bad guy really wasn't that.
Dormammu,
Dormammu. I never could say it.
I could do without that. Honestly, for me, the biggest letdown was Iron Man 3 because I loved Iron Man 1. I liked Iron Man 2.
Was it because they made the Mandarin a joke? Is that why you didn't like it?
I didn't like that. And I just, again, if you deleted that, would it affect the MCU at all? And I know I'm looking at big picture when I say that, but MCU, Kevin Feige, they're big picture people.
I love Thor Ragnarok a lot. And somebody said they totally they blew it out of the water. The opening of, what was it? Infinity War? Because he gets a hammer, a big axe thing back.
Stormbreaker. Yeah.
Stormbreaker. But the thing is, you didn't even need that movie. I go, well, you did.
No, I totally disagree. Thor Ragnarok is awesome.
Yep.
I'm looking it up right now. It won't take me long because fortunately I don't post a lot on Facebook. So when did Endgame come out? April?
May. Well, April 28th, May 1st.
I saw it definitely. Actually, no, I didn't see the date opened. I was in Hawaii.
I saw a secret cop showing because all my cop friends got to go into the
what
theater.
What you want to do?
So, seen it with a bunch of cops at midnight when we're not supposed to be. I don't know how that happened, but I did.
Well, don't most movies nowadays when they open on, let's say a Friday, they're actually open on Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the new normal now. I forget because it's been so long since I've gotten to post my Marvel Power Rankings. I've forgotten what they are. Okay, so here we go. I found them. So this was after
worried.
Far From Home. Tom, you were right.
We were concerned.
I was getting nervous right there.
You were right, Tom.
That's the face Mitch makes when he's nervous. See that face?
Iron Man 3 was last. Incredible Hulk was second to last, and that's 23 movies with including
the Spider-Man movies.
Far From Home, yes.
Okay.
So for me, in reverse order: Iron Man 3, Incredible Hulk, Thor 2, Doctor Strange. Those are my last four. So we were right there. My top of my list is Endgame, Winter Soldier, Infinity War, Civil War, Ragnarok, Guardians, Iron Man 1, Spider-Man Far From Home, Avengers, Spider-Man Homecoming, and then Captain America, First Avenger, Captain Marvel, et cetera, et cetera. I still, to this day, would argue Captain America, Winter Soldier is right there with Endgame.
Yeah.
It is just, it's such a great movie. You don't have to be
Can I ask Tom to put on his movie critic hat for a minute?
Go ahead. Hit me.
Captain America, First Avenger.
Yeah.
Captain America comes back after saving all the POWs. They walk up the hill. He goes up to Tommy Lee Jones, says, I'm reporting, for disciplinary actions. Like, don't worry about it. Why didn't you call me? Oh, I couldn't. Couldn't call. My ride was broken. The thing's shot up, right? Sebastian Stan, as Bucky Barnes, goes up. He goes, "Let's hear it for Captain America." That's what his voice sounds like.
Yep.
Right.
They play the music. I've seen that movie a bunch of times in the theater. No one really claps in the theater, and I think it's a Joe Johnston thing because I have this happen in another Joe Johnston movie. Are you getting the same feeling I have that it was supposed to be a big payoff, like an emotional impact?
It just
didn't happen. It kind of came across as snarky. And my friend Jerry Ordway says, knowing what happens to Bucky becoming the Winter Soldier and all that backstory, it's almost kind of like a snide remark because he remembers Steve Rogers being a little wuss, and now he's like, oh, let's hear from Captain America over here. Yeah, this guy, seriously, man.
So, and they set it up though because he has the whole crowd behind him. So you're ready for the Rocky IV.
He's got the Hydra tanks. He's got everything.
Yeah, but the audience watching the movie, you don't get the chills. You don't get it's just kind of.
I'm also not a big audience round of applause.
No, but I wonder what I'm asking. Why do you think? To me, why didn't it pay off? What was going on there? The music's there, the acting.
I also think too. Whenever Tommy Lee Jones looked like he made that movie at gunpoint. Okay,
he didn't want to be there.
He did not want to be there at all, and I don't know if he wants to be anywhere at all. To be perfectly honest, but in that movie. Especially, I mean, towards the end when he's driving the car and then he says, "What are you looking at me? I'm not going to kiss you." Like that whole line, it's like,
oh no, the best one is when they're in the woods attacking the Red Skull. So he's like, "Move out!" I'm like, he looks like, why am I doing this? Like it's a TV because they didn't know the movie was going to be a hit.
No, everybody was rolling the dice at the beginning, right?
I mean, the only one I thought was really acting was Stanley Tucci. He
Stanley,
was like,
but
he
Stanley,
was great.
But Stanley Tucci could get hired to do like a bagel commercial, and he would hit it out of the park. He'd swing for the fences anyway, right?
Stanley Tucci and John Turturro are very underrated actors.
Oh no, I think Tucci's really
the two of them. I mean,
yeah.
no, I don't have a
He's
procedure
always
tomorrow.
been good,
I drink tonight.
Yeah. No,
so
but
anyway, I was just asking if it was me because every time I see that movie, I always go, "There's something not working there," and I don't know what it is.
I would say so. In a lot of the scenes that Tommy Lee Jones is in that movie, it feels like he's killing the momentum.
So it takes you out of the movie.
It not only does take you out of the movie, I think he's having an effect on the other people that he's in the scene with, because they can see when they look in his dead eyes that he doesn't want to be there.
Like
so
he's so angry, it's hard to work with the guy.
You got a guy like, so Chris Evans had to flip a switch. He had to get in the best shape of his entire life. Chris Evans knew that this was his shot, right? And you got a lot of people that are coming in there and they think that this could be Sebastian Stan. You get I forget her name, the girl that plays Peggy.
Haley Atwell.
So you get these actors in there and they think this could be something much bigger than this. And then here comes Tommy Lee Jones and he's just going through the motions. And I think that's a momentum killer on screen and in real life.
Okay.
Well, and I do think Chris Evans knew Fantastic Four. He was minor leagues.
Oh, yeah.
He knew Captain America, MCU. I mean, I guarantee you Kevin Feige had a conversation with him about here's where we're going to be in 20 years. Now, whether Evans believed it or not, totally irrelevant.
Let me just jump in here. So I get to interview Dumb Luck, Feige, Mark Ruffalo, Tom Hiddleston, Chris Evans, and what's the guy, Coulson, Clark Gregg.
Yeah.
And I think that's everybody. Oh, and Colby Smulders, but I didn't know.
Oh, and her.
No. What happened is I go to New York Comic Con. I do. Tom knows I worked on it. I still do the podcast, the IndieCast. It's about Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
So I would
the guy
go
from
to New
Australia.
York Comic. I go to New York Comic Con. So I would bring my microphone and I do interviews with artists and actors and stuff for the podcast. So my iPhone is dead. This is 2010. I got to get a late train because I'm actually going to go watch a Drew Streusen documentary by our friend Eric Sharkey, who made this thing about Drew Streusen. And it's going to have Drew Streusen's the movie poster artist, if you don't know who that is.
Yep.
So it's going to be at 10 o'clock. There's going to be a screening of the movie, and Carol Spinney, who was Big Bird, was going to be there, and a bunch of other people. So I'm going to that. I got invited to it. But my phone is dead. So I go back to the press room and there's a big security guard there. And he says, "Hey, press room's closed for the day." I said, "Dude, I'm very sorry, but I'm from Connecticut. I got to call my wife. She's going to pick me up at the train and my phone's completely dead. I just need to get in there to plug in to get a phone charge." He goes, "Yeah, okay, that's okay." So he opens the door. He lets me in. I walk in. Who's sitting there? But the fucking Avengers are all sitting there ready to go do their press thing. And they all turn to look at me and I go, "Hey." And they go, "Hey," and I go, "Oh my God, my phone is dead. No one's going to believe this." So I'm like, "Don't freak out, dude." So I plug my phone in, and you know how you wait for the Apple thing to show up? And I'm just like,
they all stopped talking about the 20-year arc that they were just.
No. So they're all there, you know? And Chris Evans' brother comes in the room. I can't think of his name, but he looks like Chris, but he's
something
tall.
Evans.
Yeah, something Evans. Yeah. So they're all there, and I'm like, "Oh my God!" And I hear them all talking to each other, and they're lining up to do a press. We see, like, when they do the premieres, they have like a wall, with logos on it, and then they have the actors come up, and then they have all the reporters stand there, and they go one after another down a line. And they go, "There's Entertainment Tonight. Here's Entertainment Weekly. Here's CNN," and you got two questions. So my phone.
And here's Mitch Hallock.
Your phone charges. And I'm like, "Oh my God, the Avengers." And I'm like trying to read a program, trying to act cool, you know? So I walk out and there's a security guard and I go, "Why are the Avengers here?" He goes, "They're here for the press line." I can't think of press line maybe. And he goes, and he looks down and I have a press pass on, but I don't have one that says media, like TV media or anything, you know? He's like, "You're set. You're all set. Go ahead." I'm like, "Oh, thanks, buddy." And all I have is a little tiny handheld microphone. So I walk up to this Australian guy that's got the big camera rig on his shoulders, And I said to him, "Hey, what's going on?" And he's like, "Oh, we're going to interview the Avengers. How are you doing, mate?" And he just starts talking to me. I go, "Oh my, do you know where Geelong is?" "Yeah, I know where Geelong, Australia." So as I'm talking about the guy that works on the IndieCast with me, so we're just bullshitting back and forth. And then there's this guy from, you remember a thing called Attack of the Show?
Yeah.
But G4, he was
Yes.
like Olivia Munn.
Yep.
This guy Blair Herter is there, and he was one of the guys that was one of the on-air talents, and he was one of the original hosts of American Ninja Warrior or something like that.
Right.
So he comes up to me, and I go, "Hey, Blair Herter, my kid watches you on Ninja Warrior or whatever." He goes like, "Oh, thanks, man." So he goes, "Oh, how old's your kid?" And then he starts asking me, "Do you like being married? Do you like having kids?" And I'm like, "What am I, your life coach?"
Have you ever seen a grown man naked?
So he starts asking me
You want
questions
to?
about that. And I'm just like talking to him. I'm like, "Yeah, I've been married for like 10 years now. It's really cool, or 20 years. I can't remember." And he's asking me all these things about being married. He goes, "Well, my girlfriend, she's older than me and she wants to have kids. And I don't know, maybe I've been dating her for a while." I'm like, "Okay, why are we talking here?" So as this is happening, the actors are moving down the line towards us, and we're over here talking about kids and marriage and the Australian guys there. And next thing you know, there's Kevin Feige in front of me, and he goes, "Hi." I go, "Hey." And he looks down and he sees my name. It says Mitch. And he goes, "So what's going on, Mitch?" And then the PR girl's there, and she says, "You've got 2 questions for Kevin?"
Wow.
And I go, oh yeah.
Number one, should this gentleman stay with his girlfriend?
So I said, and I don't even have my mic on, and I'm like trying to get my microphone on, and I'm like, what's it like working at Marvel? "Oh, well, it's a great thing, blah, blah, blah." And he just does the typical, and he moves along. I go, "Oh, what an ass. Oh, I can't believe that." And I had dislocated my thumb the week before. I fell off my bicycle. Okay. And my thumb was down here, and I had to pick it up and put it back in the socket. So it was still kind of tender. And I went to go get my camera out, and I can't hold things too well because my thumb. My camera falls to the floor. Mark Ruffalo picks it up, and he goes, "Hey, here you go." I go, "Oh, thanks, man." And the Hulk hasn't come out yet. Okay.
Right.
He's not the Avengers. This is before the Avengers has come out. This is
Okay.
2010.
Edward Norton had come out, right? But not.
Yeah. So no one knows.
Ruffalo.
No one
Yeah.
knows Ruffalo yet. So he's like, "Hey," and they go, "You have 2 questions for Mark." I go, "Okay." And I don't know who he's going to be. He's going to be Bruce Banner. I'm like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." So he's like, "What happened to you?" I said, "Oh, I fell off my bike." He goes, "A motorcycle?" I go, "No, bicycle." "Oh, where's your thumb?" And I tell him how my thumb. He goes, "Oh, that sounds painful." I said, "Yeah." And then the girl goes, "Okay, your time is up." I go, "Well, wait, I didn't ask him any questions." But I got a phone. He's like, "Oh, I hope your thumb feels better." I'm like, "Oh, thanks, man." So he walks away, and here comes Chris. It's Hiddleston next.
This episode of the Too Critical Podcast is brought to you by Chris's Clippers. Chris's Clippers, when you absolutely positively have to have someone cut your hedges who has a 4-year college degree. Chris's Clippers. Call us today. If not, go fuck yourself.
No, it's Chris Evans. I'm sorry, because Chris Evans is there, and he's got a baseball cap on, and he's got his leather jacket on, and I'm 5'10", okay? And all I know is I'm about the same height as Chris Evans at that moment. I'm like, wait a minute, Captain America's only 5'10"? What the hell is this all about?
Yeah.
So that threw me for a loop. And they go, "You got 2 questions for Chris?" And I have nothing prepared, dude. I don't even know why I'm there, And all I remember is leaving that day, and my son says to me, "Dad, if you get a chance, get me Captain America's autograph." I'm like, when the fuck am I going to see Captain America to get his autograph in New York Comic Con? That ain't going to happen. So there's Captain America, and you can hear it on the audio because it's actually on the IndieCast. And I go, "Hey, Cap," and I call him Cap because I can't remember his name. He just goes along with it. He's like, doesn't correct it. He's like, "Yeah, what's up?" I go, "You're from Massachusetts, right?" He's like, Yeah. I said, "I'm from Connecticut." He goes, "Oh, how you doing, man?" So now we're like local boys.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, is there anybody you want to play, any heroes you had? Like, somebody. He's like, "Well, there's a lot of people, man." "Anybody in particular?" I go, "How about dead people? Anybody dead?" He goes, "Oh, well, yeah. You didn't say dead." I go, "What are you, a lawyer, buddy? Just answer the question." So now it's like attitude. And he's like, "Oh, whoa. And I'm like,
JFK.
So I'm like pissing off Chris Evans. And he goes, "I don't know." I said, "How about JFK? That's like a local thing. All you Massachusetts guys, you all got a hard on for JFK." And he goes, Yeah. Okay. I could play Kennedy. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, that's not a bad thing." And I'm thinking, I just told Captain America you got a hard on for Kennedy. What the hell? And I'm thinking, what an ass I am. So
look what you did. Shame on you.
Yeah, and so I get him into the politics right there in that moment. And I can't remember the second question. Oh, and they go, "Do you have another question?" I go, yeah, can you sign this for my son Spencer? He goes, yeah, sure. And he takes the Sharpie out, and it's one of those real fine points. And you're not supposed to ask for autographs, but I'm like, fuck it, I got one shot at this, you know? So he signs it to Spencer, Chris Evans. And I go, hey, thanks a lot, Cap. Good luck with the movie. I hope it works out well. And I'm the last one. So he turns to go around the pipe and drape wall or whatever you call it. So I see him turn the corner and his shoulders just drop like he's exhausted. Like this has been like working construction all day.
Right.
And he's just like, oh, like that. Like, oh God, thank
We're
God
done.
that's over. And I'm thinking to myself, my dad was a construction worker. This ain't hard work.
And
I
a
mean,
He's
Marine.
never carried shingles.
so
and a Marine.
exactly, you never tarred a roof in 100-degree
Yeah.
heat, buddy. This
Yeah.
is Shawshank Redemption stuff. So he leaves, and there's Hiddleston
Andy.
next to me. Hiddleston's there, and he's like a close talker. He's like 6'3" or something, and he's like in my face, like he's gonna kiss me. He's like 3 inches away from me, and he's like, "Hello," and they go, "Do you have any questions for Tom?" And I go, yeah.
Is that tuna fish you ate?
I work on the IndieCast, and that's about Indiana Jones, and he's always looking for mythological things. And Loki's a mythological creature, and I'm just making
Look
up.
at you. Look at you go.
I go, is there any mythological thing in history you'd like to go find out? And he goes, do you know something? I go, oh, they're going to call me out. They know I'm not supposed to be here. He goes, do you know that Raiders of the Lost Ark is my favorite movie of all time? I go,
Stop.
It is not. And I go, you're an
No.
indie fan? He goes, I'm in it. Guess how many times I've seen it? I go, I don't know, 30. He goes, how about 300? I go, bullshit. And he goes, no shit. And I go, oh yeah, you took the crystal and you put it in a certain place at a certain time of day. And he goes, and the sun shone through here and made a beam that came down on the floor here and gave you the exact location of the Well of the Souls. I go, oh, you're not kidding. You really know the movie. He goes,
Holy
I watched
shit.
every day when I came home from school, the Raiders of the Lost Ark, and he starts going on about Raiders, and I'm like,
He would kill it as a young Belloc.
and he says to me, you know what? And he goes, you know what I want to do? I said, what? He goes, I want to go back in time to see if Shakespeare really wrote all the plays that they said he did, because there's been controversy that he didn't. I'm like, that's a fucking hell of an answer, man. I mean, that's like, he thought about it.
They think he couldn't even write.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. And I go, I never heard that before. And then he goes, oh, no, it's true. And he starts telling me all about Shakespeare and this conspiracy theories. And they go, you got, your 2 minutes is up. And he puts his hand out to stop the PR person. Like, I'm talking. And he starts telling me about the whole legend of Shakespeare not writing and stuff. And he goes, oh, this has been so terrific. Thank you for asking me that question. No one's asked me something like that. And I go, hey, no problem. Can you do me a favor now? He's like, what? I go, can you sign this for my son Spencer? He goes, oh, absolutely. And he takes the marker, and Chris Evans had written so hard he like bent the tip of the Sharpie,
Right.
and it wouldn't work. And I go, oh, it's okay. I guess Chris used the super soldier serum. And he goes, let me work my Loki magic on it. And he just like took the pen and shook it around, and suddenly it worked again. And he wrote Tom Hiddleston to
Hilarious.
Spencer. And then they tapped me on the shoulder and they go, buddy, you can't ask for any more autographs. I go, oh, I'm sorry. I thought for sure they knew at that point I wasn't supposed to be there.
Right.
And the Australian guy's laughing because he's listening to all my stories and watching me, because he knows I'm just bullshit my way there. So now Colby Smulders comes up to me. I never watched that I Met Your Mother thing, so I don't know who she is.
Yeah.
And I just thought she was just this pretty young woman, So she comes up, she goes, hi. I go, hey, how are you? She's like, you got any questions for me? I go,
You want to get out of here?
You want to do some blow?
You want to do some blow?
No, I don't.
How do you feel? How do you feel about pizza in Connecticut?
9-2. 9-2.
and I said, I have some questions in my head, but I might get slapped if I say them. And she's like, oh my, what are you going to ask me? And I go, well,
Are those real?
I go, why are you talking to me? She goes, because I'm in the movie. I go, what movie? She's like, the Avengers. I go, who are you playing? She's like, Maria Hill. I go, no shit, really? And then the girl goes, do you have 2 questions for her? I go, you know what? I don't know who you are, so I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to give my 2 questions to this guy from Australia, so he has 4 questions now. And she goes, wait, you don't know who I am? I go, no, I'm very sorry. I don't. She goes, you never watched I Met Your Mother? I go, is that on TV? She's like, yeah. I go, no, I don't know who you are. So he's cracking up. She's like, I can't believe you don't know who I am. I go, look, believe it. I don't know.
Wasn't in college in the 90s. Sorry.
He's laughing. Yeah, exactly. So she leaves, and now Clark Gregg's standing there. He's listening to this whole thing. And it's like a drug deal. I go, hey, you like comics? He's like, yeah. What's your favorite comic?
Meet me around back.
No, he goes like this. He goes,
You need some jokes?
He goes, Power Man, Iron Fist. I go, yeah. What else? He goes, Starlin, Jim Starlin. I go, like Warlock, Adam Strange shit. He's like, yeah, the cosmic stuff. I go, you know who the Korvac saga is? He goes, I know who Michael Korvac is. I'm like, so we're doing like that lingo shit that nerds do to each other to feel each other out.
You're just testing. Yeah.
And I go, so if you like comics, when's the last time you read one? He goes, okay, when we were in Albuquerque filming the Avengers, I went to a local Comic-Con out in Albuquerque.
He said Albuquerque.
And he said, he puts a baseball cap on. He goes, I went and bought all the comics I had, and they're on my bedside. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, he's in bed next to Lorraine Gray, right?
Yeah.
That's his wife?
Yeah.
From Dirty Dancing.
Dirty Dancing, yeah.
And he's sitting there reading comic books just like me.
Yep.
But granted, my wife wasn't in Dirty Dancing. So we start talking about
but
comic
a huge
books.
fan of the Catskills.
There you go. Baby, nobody puts baby in the bed with comics. So
but she does throw the tumbler away in the trash.
Here you go. There, you gotta go there, don't you, Tommy? So anyway, it was a weird thing. I don't know why we got on this, but my point was when you said about those people being in the movie, going back to Chris Evans, dude, that guy had the weight of the world on his shoulder, because if you listen to him, he says that he was going to, I believe he was going to a psychiatrist or something at the time, because he was so worried that if these movies didn't work, the whole franchise, it was like a domino effect. Like
he's talked about his anxiety quite a bit.
I remember when they cast him as Captain America, I was thinking,
exactly.
how can Johnny Storm be
The
Chris
Human
Evans?
Torch?
Yeah. How
The
how
guy
can
with the
they
whipped
pull
cream
this
on his
off?
nipples from that movie?
Mitch, I'm not
Yeah.
joking. Tom told me, he goes, when you get talking to Mitch, he goes, you could talk to Mitch for 6 hours.
For 4,000 hours.
He goes,
God,
you have to. I've already convinced myself he needs to be our next guest, not just this guest.
No,
he needs to be our next.
It's gonna be one whole episode on Indy. We'll do one
We
whole
haven't
episode
talked
on
about
Star
Indy.
Wars.
We've barely touched Star Wars. I haven't asked him half the Marvel questions I have to ask. Well, hold on. I don't even remember. What the hell? I made a list of questions to ask him. All right, so hold on. Rapid fire here. Tom's going to more rapid fire after. Did you really have 14,000 people at an ice rink in your third year?
Did I have what?
14,000 people at an ice rink.
Yes.
For your third year of
at the
Terrificon.
Bridgeport Arena. It's called the Harbor Yard Arena in Bridgeport, Connecticut. It was a 3-day show. I did it in August. I think it's August 14, 15, 16.
It's always August. It's always on my birthday.
But if I remember correctly, the guy said you'll be lucky to get 4,000 or 5,000, and you had 14.
Ran the place, thought I was nuts. He said, because I had produced 2 one-day shows. Like every year we do a one-day show at a Marriott hotel. And the first year,
but the fire chief kicked you out.
3,000 people. The second year, there was 5,000 people at a place designed for 1,500 max. And the fire marshals, the cops showed up. It was bad. There was people in the middle of the streets walking around dressed as superheroes, and they go, "Who's in charge of this nut hospital?" I'm like, "I am." They go, "You can't come back." I'm like, "What?" They go, "Congratulations on your success, but you're breaking so many fire codes right now. We can't. We're not. You got to get everybody out of here. So we got to get everybody out and stuff. So we can never go back." So I went to the hockey arena, and the owner said, "How many people you think you're gonna get at this little freak show?" I go, "What'd you call it?" He goes, "Well, it's like a circus. People show up dressed up like clowns." I go, "No, what is wrong with you?"
Sounds like a guy that wants to make money.
so then the show opens up. We had the mayor come and give Batman the key to the city. It was all, like I told you before, it's all about presentation. It's all about theatrics. It's all about making a show. The reason why I love doing these conventions is I just don't make a convention. I just don't put a tent up and have some guys sell comic books out of a cardboard box.
It's an experience.
It's an experience. Like Tom can appreciate this. I plan every one of these shows like it's a Broadway show. Like, what's the theme going to be? What's the center point? What's the look of the show? What is all the signage going to be? What is the colors of the drapes when you walk in and stuff? Like, I want people to remember like they're going to friggin' Disney World.
Yes.
And that's why it works. And people don't get that. They sit there and go, "I got the best guest. I got the guy who was the #1 actor in America." I'm like, it doesn't mean shit if people don't enjoy themselves. If they just go and shell out thousands of dollars to get autographs, that's not a good time, okay? If they go and get a picture with somebody, they go get a story, they go to the pizza restaurant at the Mohegan, they gamble. It's an event, dude. It's like a circus act. So Long story short, yes, it was 13,800 people if I call the number 14,000.
We'll round up.
So yeah, and the line went out the door, down the street, around the baseball field, underneath the train tracks. It just kept going and going and going and going. And there's a footage somewhere of me running down the street to go meet the last guy in line to shake his hand, to tell him thank you for showing up and waiting. That's the other thing too. When the shows happen, I run outside the auditorium and run through the lines of people waiting to come in and put my hand out and shake everyone's goddamn hand to come there. Because if they didn't show up, I just wasted a lot of money, and my wife just has more fuel to divorce me. Yeah.
I don't want to be too presumptuous. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you've got a lot of life lessons, important ones that you learned from your dad. And it sounds like a real important one is lead from the front.
I guess I never thought of it that way, but yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean,
and don't count on as much as you can't sit there and expect everyone to do the job. I end up doing everything. I mean, I actually booked the flights. I booked the hotel rooms. I do the posters. I do the billboards. I do the radio ads. I drop the postcards off at all the comic book shops in Massachusetts and Connecticut and New York and Long Island. And I do that all summer. I just drive around for hundreds of miles, dropping off postcards, you know? And
so when you come to Chris's Comics in Nashua, New Hampshire, I live right around the corner. We'll meet for lunch.
Okay.
So, Tom, I know you got some stuff to say. I got a couple more questions. Let me burn through them real quick.
And I'm sorry I'm long-winded, but yeah, it's been a year staying in my basement, so I got no one to talk to.
I'm telling you, man, we could have you on for 7 more episodes. All right, so I'm going to burn through the last couple of questions.
We cap it at 7.
Yeah, we got a couple of quick ones here.
Hello? More questions. Okay.
Hello, yes, Mitch.
Have you met Ronald Reagan?
Hello, yes. Hello, yes, Mitch.
Lagarn?
Yes, hello, Mitch. I'd like to come to the Comic-Con myself and Theo Ella LaGuardia, and Bonzo will be there, of course. Nancy, hello. Can someone please call Mitch Hallock, the king of the nerds? I did a boom boom in my pants.
Oh.
Hello. Yes. Is this thing on?
So, all right, jump to me. So, all right, Mitch, 2-ton Superman or Fat Thor?
2-ton Superman?
Isn't that what the comic was?
Oh, there was. Oh, yeah. There was an issue where he was huge. I
heard a podcast where you talked about him.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing with them. I don't know if we're dating or just hanging out, but I'm gonna hang out with Fat Thor.
I don't blame
you.
He plays video games. You know?
Okay.
So you guys want a drink? What are we drinking? Beer, tequila, all sorts of things.
Is it true that your grandfather was roommates with Ernest Borgnine, the inventor of the Dutch oven?
I think he did invent that. He was McHale's Navy, but yeah, in New Haven, Connecticut in the 30s on Olive Street, I believe he lived on, in Hamden, Connecticut. Yes, they were there. Went to the Merchant Marines.
Did you have artwork featured in Newsweek magazine in 1981 when you were 13 years old?
When I was 13, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Do you still have it?
I haven't accomplished that at 35.
The artwork. I have the magazine. What happened is there was a show called NBC Overnight with Linda Ellerby, and I used to stay up night and watch it. Before they had 24-hour news, they would sign off at like 1 a.m. with the Star Spangled Banner in static. And NBC started doing a news program after the Tomorrow Show, which was with Tom Snyder. And it would go from like 1:30 to 2:30, and there was nothing else on. So I would watch this news show every night. And they were going off the air, and the woman had like a little stuffed duck on her desk. So I drew a picture of the duck crying, and I just mailed it to her. And then they did an article about the last show, and right behind her head is the duck drawing I did framed behind her. And like, there it is. And she's like, oh, this fan sent in this book, and he's like a 13-year-old kid, and he watches our show. Why he's up at 2 a.m. is beyond me. And there you go. That's my first published piece of art in Newsweek magazine.
Insane. All right, I got two more questions for you. Yeah. Number 2, how nice will our VIP suite be at the next Terrificon?
Oh, you got the same one that I gave to Kevin Smith. It's on the 33rd floor where Ben Affleck used to throw out,
that's high enough. If he jumps, that's high enough. Yeah. And last question, is Mephisto coming to WandaVision?
No.
No.
Oh.
Ooh.
No. I don't think so, because I think it's going to be somehow Hydra coming back, because I interviewed the guy that played Baron Strucker.
Oh shit!
The Strucker watch that showed up in the commercial
in 2019, and he said some weird thing like, "Oh, I'm going back into the Avengers Wanda movie," and I'm like, "Didn't Ultron kill him?" So I didn't know what he was talking about.
Really?
But I'm thinking, just like you had Zola, that was like a computer thing.
Yeah.
That somehow, Ultron might have killed Strucker, but they were fooling around with the crystal thing when they made Wanda and Pietro.
I'm going to surrender.
Yeah.
The Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. Maybe he made like an LMD. Maybe he made a clone of himself or something, and maybe he's behind manipulating Wanda. Because
we need to get him back on when WandaVision is done.
You know how I know it was that actor? We're doing a thing. There's a show called Lore. It's a podcast about folklore, and they did an Amazon Prime show, and they had the actors that were on the show do a press roundtable, and they get up from table to table to sit down and talk to the press. So this guy gets down, he sits next to me to do the interview for the podcast, and he's got a longish brown hair and glasses on, and when he opens up his mouth, he's like, "Okay, so what do I go? Oh, Baron von Strucker." He just looks at me, and he goes, "Yes, I played him in the Avengers movie." I go, "Oh." It would help if I read the notes before the actors sit down, so I know who's coming in, but I don't read that stuff.
So I guess what I would ask is, why is Strucker showing up again? Why does that mean Mephisto's not in charge of what's going on in WandaVision?
Because if you want to step into the realm of the devil now, I mean, I think
is it Nightmare?
That's more of a Doctor Strange thing. Okay,
but that's going to lead into Spider-Man 3, which is going to lead into Multiverse of Madness, right?
That's a hell of a jump, though, man.
It is. I defer to you. You're the expert, not me.
Because when you start dealing with the devil and people selling their soul to the devil and stuff, then you can deal with people coming back from the dead and all that stuff. And I don't know if you're going to put that on a TV show. That seems more cinematic, like it's a bigger event. Like
one of the things I've been confused about is if they can create Wiccan and Speed in this, Hex area.
Yeah, the two kids. Yeah.
But if they can create life in that area, why couldn't they bring back Vision and obviously now Pietro, but in the Evan Peters form? I told Tom, like probably 3 weeks before WandaVision came out, I said, I have a prediction for WandaVision. He said, what is it? I said, I'm going to hate it. I couldn't have been more wrong. I love it. I can't.
No,
I
when
can't.
Everybody was going ape shit the first couple episodes about how slow. I go, what did you just get?
I loved it. I loved it. I loved every episode.
I was like, imagine that. You have to wait to see a story develop. It's not all done for you in the first 30 seconds. Okay.
Well, it's the Netflix generation. My father-in-law calls it the instant oatmeal generation.
Yeah. My son was like, why can't they put this all on at once? I go, because it would be ruined in a day.
I love it. I can't wait for Netflix shows to come out to watch them. I love that every Friday, Tom and I think we're going to record potentially this Friday at like 5 a.m.
Yeah, like when The Mandalorian was on. Imagine if they did that whole thing in one season and you knew Luke Skywalker showed up. What would be the point? You watch it all in one day. Like,
Mandalorian was awesome.
The smartest thing they did.
It's the best thing since Empire Strikes Back.
The smartest thing they did was just to release one episode per week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because everybody would have gone, it would have been.
They just binge it.
Yeah.
It's like drugs.
I feel like
the subscribers, they need to get people to coming back every week.
We've been talking to
Pump those numbers up.
We've been talking to Mitch for 2 hours. I feel like I have asked him about 5% of the questions I would like to ask him.
Yeah, he's an untapped well of.
We haven't even talked about Indiana Jones, which I like. Tom loves with a passion, obviously.
All right.
We've barely tapped into Star Wars. I feel like we've scratched the surface with Marvel. I think we're going to need to have multiple episodes with Mitch Hallock if he'll oblige.
Mitch, let me ask you.
I've got nothing else to do.
Thanks, appreciate it. That's the vote of confidence I was looking for.
That's like that scene in Officer and Gentleman. I've got no place else to go.
So let me ask you a question, Mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise.
So what sets you apart from all of the other Comic-Cons? Why are you as successful as you are, and how are you continuing to build your audience and get bigger with every single Comic-Con? How are you doing that?
Because it's a good value. I don't rip people off. No, I actually keep the prices low. Like I think maybe $30 was the highest ever went. And I go to some shows, it's $35, $40 to get in the door, and you're like, wait, what did I just pay for? So, and I always make kids free, because I remember having my 2 kids when they were little, and there's nothing worse than going to a show and they want to go home 10 minutes after you get there, and you just spent $20 or $30 to get them in the door that you could have spent money on a toy or a comic book. So I let the kids come in free. And I think it's just a value. I just think people have a good time and they actually see me. I don't think I've seen any other promoters at shows, honestly. I mean, I'm out there working the front table. I'm bringing water to the actors, and I'm up on the stage hosting some of the panels and stuff. I'm like in roller skates. I'm all over that place for 3 days, just running the whole thing too. Because honestly, I make a show that I would want to go to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, because
I'm the king of the nerds. Yeah, I know what I liked in a show, and I make that show my show. So as long as I'm happy, I think other people will be happy.
And unlike other kings of the nerds, he speaks with an English accent.
Ooh.
So realistically, I know last year, unfortunately, you had to cancel.
Yeah.
What happened last year? What was going on last year?
Tornado in Connecticut.
Yeah. Ptomaine poisoning.
What are your plans for 2021? Are we going to get a Terrific Con?
Well, I had planned. I still have planned for the 80th anniversary of Captain America. I kind of like that character.
No,
just a little.
Actually, there's a trend.
Personal favorite.
I like Captain America. I like Indiana Jones, and I like the Rocketeer. So if you're a Nazi, forget about it.
Who doesn't like talking raccoons?
I like guys that beat up Nazis. Yeah, so
I've heard that about you.
Yeah. Yeah. Or the
I've knocked out Adolf Hitler.
What were they called? What were the guys called? The bikies? The bikies.
Good Lord, man. Really? You're gonna pull that out? Why is it even stuck in your head?
Even I know that, right? It's the bikies, right?
I was on the set that day. I watched some of this.
It's a long, sad story.
That was a big one. That was a big one.
So
I mean, I appreciate it.
How crazy is this? This podcast was set up 16 years after you started Indiana James and the Lost Shaker Assault.
It'll be 16 years.
No one but Mitch, me, and your mother are going to get that reference.
That's true.
It's true.
Yep. Nobody cares.
I'm telling you though,
that's the overall theme.
I've seen the footage that he's posted on Vimeo. I cannot wait for his Indiana James series. I can't. When I met him, Tom, when did we meet? 13 years ago?
Yeah.
Give or take?
Yeah.
I met him 13 years ago. He told me about this. I was an office furniture salesman at a different company, and he rented space in our building. And I went downstairs and I met the new guy. And he's like, "Hey, I'm Rob. I sell furniture for the company upstairs. What do you do?"
I make porno movies in the back.
Yeah. He's like, "You ever seen Boogie Nights?" And
exactly. Yeah.
No, he and it was him and a couple other guys that were there, and they were telling me all about Indiana James, and I became obsessed with it. And I came home and I told my wife, and I'm like, "This guy's making a spoof of Indiana Jones, and I love Indiana Jones, and it's Jimmy Buffett influence." And she just looked at me and was like, "Yeah, who gives a shit?"
Yeah.
And now, 13 years later, I'm making a podcast with this loser. So here we go.
Thanks, Rob.
Back to you, Tom. Dynamite dropping money.
Dynamite dropping money.
That broadcasting school really big.
Too critical. Yeah.
So I will say that. So I noticed one theme that was kind of running through everything that Mitch was saying here. So first of all, people that do things, and I know we have a lot of parallels and similar interests and such, but it's definitely it's passion that is driving what you want to do. And when you say things like, "I'm making a Comic-Con that I would want to go to," and I love the fact that you said you want to make it an experience.
Yeah.
Every single event that I have, every birthday party, every anniversary party, and God knows,
podcast.
May the 4th.
Since the first lockdown experience that we had, it was my mother-in-law's 75th birthday party, and it was a big deal. It was a big deal, and they had planned a huge party, and nobody could go. And we live in a 3-family house. My wife and I and the twins are on the first floor, and one of the most important parts of her life was spending time in Hawaii with my father-in-law, who has been gone for 12 years. And God knows I have a lot of tiki themed decorations and things like that. So we essentially emptied our first floor apartment and turned it into a Hawaiian themed restaurant. And
there you go. That's
I brought in the 120-inch screen in our front room, and I had the whole family set up on a Zoom, and we had a gigantic Zoom, and we played Hawaiian music, and
there you go.
We had everybody dressed. But what I'm saying is, every single event that I do, no matter what it is, there has to be a theme. There has to be music. There has to be
it's an experience.
A poster. There has to be an experience, because, and I'm sure Mitch is the same way. When you go to Disney and you're waiting in the queue.
Yeah, they got stuff there.
The pre-shows, and then you see other companies that try to emulate what they do. Like, for instance, in they have
Universal.
Like Legoland.
Yeah.
They do the pre-show, and then there's a company here in Massachusetts. It's called Five Wits, and they do those escape room things.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So they did one years ago that was Indiana Jones themed.
Yeah.
And then they now do one that's like a spy theme and things like that.
Yeah.
When people need to immerse themselves in what they're doing to feel like they're part of that experience.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've gone to movie theaters where you come in, you sit in the theater, you're waiting for the movie to start, and on the screen they're playing movie trivia, but they're playing soundtracks.
They play the Terrificon commercial. I have trailers.
Of course.
I was going to say, there's no other Comic-Con around here that does that, because why? I love movies, and I would go early before you had to pick your seat. I would get it early to get the good seat in the middle, and then they run those trailers beforehand. And it's like Tom, what's his name? Kenny, the voice of Thundercats. He's the guy. He's the voiceover guy.
Yep.
So he lives in Connecticut.
Okay.
And I say to him, "Hey, can you do my voiceover?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." This guy gets paid thousands and thousands of dollars to do the M&M commercials and Skittles, and he's Count Chocula, and he's literally the voice of all these famous cartoon characters you've heard. And he's been coming to my show since it was the one-day show, and he sees me doing. We do skits. We had Darth Vader fighting the local DJ. I did Superman fight, and I'm on stage dressed with the guys playing Superman, and it's all like a vaudeville set. And he comes to our show every year, and he always says there's such like a church carnival atmosphere to it, And I had John Wesley Shipp, whose dad was a minister. He's the Flash. He was at one of my one-day shows before he came back as the Flash on TV, and we put him out in a tent because we had no room inside. And it was bizarre. I mean, here's this guy, he's an actor, and he's in a tent outside doing autographs. And then I jump up on the stage. I'm like, we're going to have a costume contest now. And then we're going to hear from a local band and this and that. And he said, there's such energy in the room. It's like a crazy vibe. You can't just help but get caught up in it.
Right.
Because I'm running around like, with a chicken with its head cut off. And, hey, are you having fun? This is great. What do you want? Do you want something? Can we get some balloon animals over here? You know what I mean? So make sure everybody's got something, and, you're right. What's the sense of doing it
if it's not an experience?
If you're just going to phone it in, then you shouldn't do it at all. I mean, honestly, it's like if you're going to do a movie and you don't give a crap, it's going to show on the screen. There's no passion in it. Like you said, Tommy Lee Jones sucked the life and the energy out of those scenes. You could have the best actors, the best comic book artists and writers.
If they're just collecting the check and don't care, it doesn't matter.
Collecting the check and there's nothing there. And the people will just show up, they'll get their crap, and they'll walk out the door. They won't stay. Dude, I got people that stay all day at my show. They're like exhausted, like they went to Disney World,
I think we have to make a deal right here. So the next time Mitch is allowed to have his Comic-Con, hopefully it's 2021. If not, it's 2022.
Hopefully, yes, sir. Yeah.
Hopefully it's 2021. We're going. No doubt.
Right, you are.
I have never been to a Comic-Con. I've always wanted to go my entire life. Never. I think we need to agree. We'll respect Mitch's time, so we won't interview him there. But we'll go to his Comic-Con.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing. Don't try it, because I've had friends come up from the IndieCast that fly across the country to hang with me, and I'm like, I got no time. Sam Jackson
we're gonna go.
Sam Jones is stuck in a bathroom.
We're gonna go. We're gonna see you for 2 minutes. We're gonna enjoy the hell out of ourselves. Yeah. And then we're going to come back and meet with you after the fact.
Oh, well, you got to give me like a couple days, because it's like a weird PTSD.
We'll give you a month.
That happens. No, I'll wake up for days after the show thinking the show hasn't happened yet. Go, oh, my God, somebody's got to go pick up Lou Ferrigno at the airport. Oh, geez, John Barrowman's stuck over in the Long Island. Where's it? And then it's like, Mitch, My wife's like, the show's over. It was.
We're gonna come to the next Comic-Con. We're gonna do some footage on site with Tom and I, and then we're gonna let you do your thing. And then when the dust settles, we're gonna talk to you after the fact and say, first Comic-Con back after COVID, what happened, who was here, how was it? I mean, I have always wanted to go to a Comic-Con. It's been
you should. You get to meet all the artists and stuff. It's great.
And again, I have no delusion that I wasn't a huge comic fan when I was a kid. It's just an obsession that I have now. And I see the videos and the tweets and the Instagrams when people post about it after the fact. And it's like it's whole some of the separate Marvel world.
People. I had Agent Sitwell. I had Mantis from the Guardians of the Galaxy. Last year before COVID, Sean Gunn, who's been in my show 3 times.
I love Sean Gunn.
You want to call him? Let's call him right now. He's in Australia making.
You won't do it.
Oh shit!
You won't do it.
No.
Kraglin? You're gonna call Kraglin right now. That's Kraglin, right?
No, that's my Mitch Hallock bobblehead.
Oh, but Sean Gunn is Kraglin, correct?
No, he is Kraglin. And the thing of it is, I met James Gunn at
never heard of him.
Hasbro Toys. They had a Hasbro.
That's a DC guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, now he is, but he was there.
I know.
And he was. They said, "Oh, do you got any questions for James Gunn?" And I got in line to ask him a question.
Hey, how's your brother?
I texted Sean. I go, "Hey, I'm about to talk to your bro." He's like, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm in Rhode Island." What should I ask him? He goes, "Ask him why he cheats so bad at poker and why he sucks."
Oh no!
Right. So I get up and they go, "Do you have a question for James Gunn?" I go, "Yeah. I got a question from a guy named Sean Gunn. He wants to know why you suck at poker and why you cheat." And he goes, "What? Get out of here." I go, "Wait, is his number this?" He goes, "Yeah, that's Sean's number." I go, "Well, yeah." He goes, "You tell him," and he starts fighting about it. And everyone's
what's that number? Can you repeat that?
Yeah, it's right here.
Yeah,
it's under
screenshot that, Tommy.
Yeah, here's Kevin Smith's number. Yeah. So.
Oh, that's a sensitive subject for Tommy.
Yeah,
I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan.
Kevin Smith, Bobby Beamer. Who you got, Tommy?
Well, should we get into the pop quiz?
Let's call cutlets.
We got to get into cutlets real quick.
All right,
I know we're running out of time here, but we got to get into cutlets.
You ran out of time 2 hours ago. But
that's why we love you.
So circling back, so the Martin Sheen movie with the aircraft carrier that goes back in time is the final countdown.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's the final.
Yes.
Countdown.
All right.
That's it. Yes.
So Mitch,
1981, I think.
Mitch, I have a pop quiz for you.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
Number 1, it's 10 questions. Here we go. What TV character choked his chicken in the back of a bus?
Well, it wasn't Hawkeye. It was this Korean woman, a mother, on the last episode of MASH.
He finds our offensiveness offensive.
The cast of the movie Mask gets hit by a 10 megaton bomb. What is the only thing that would be left?
Cher's wig.
Close. Sam Elliott's mustache.
My hair follicles run deeper than the roots of a sequoia.
Okay, so number 3.
What?
Finish this line. Some days you just can't.
Get rid of a bomb.
Boom.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Number 4. When your wife looks at you and says, "I love you," this is always your reply.
I know.
Boom. Number 5. Wrong answers only. Chewbacca didn't receive a medal at the end of A New Hope because
he was working for the Empire.
Number 6. You find yourself in a post-apocalyptic world infested with zombies and people that inexplicably cut the grass. You are taken in by a group led by a sheriff that talks funny and can't aim properly.
Yeah.
Out of all the members in this community, which one asks you to do blow?
Bobby Beamer.
That would be our good friend Abraham Ford.
False. It's Judith. Number 7. Number 7. You have to pick David Lee Roth or Sammy Hagar.
I'm going to go with Patty Smythe because she turned it down. They asked her to be the lead singer before Sammy Hagar.
So the correct answer is you take both and leave the cannolis, but we will also accept Patty Smythe.
Yes.
Number 8. Who coined the phrase bada bing?
Oh, Rodney Dangerfield.
James Caan in The Godfather.
You got to get up close like this. Bada bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
Number 9. What's the number of the bus in Speed?
Oh, isn't it like 1361 or something?
Is that the final answer?
Yeah.
It's 25.
I should have said 1138. 25. Okay.
This is an intercity transfer on bus 1138.
Prisoner transfer from cell block 1138.
All right, Mitch, number 10. Here we go. You ready?
Yes.
What did Greedo say before he died?
Oh, the new McClunky.
How high are you right now?
Boom, you got it.
Got it.
Excellent. All
That's
right.
it?
That's all I had. I had 10
What
questions.
did I get? Like 5 out of 5? Or 5?
You did well. You did well.
I'd say 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
8 out of 10. Yeah.
And honestly, Tom was right. I mean, we've been talking for 2 hours and 15 minutes. He warned me
And
that
there's
if
probably
I
about
got
10
on here with
minutes of
you,
good
I could talk
stuff.
for 3 hours, and I haven't scratched the surface of questions I have.
That's not true, Mitch. I got a solid 22 minutes.
That does it for this episode of the Too Critical Podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned next week for more of Mitch Hallock. And that will be part 3 and the conclusion of the trilogy with Mitch Hallock. We will talk about Star Wars and the future of the Terrificon comic convention. We hope you enjoyed the show. If not, go fuck yourself. And thanks for listening. Everybody stay safe out there. Fins up.
Ra-da-da-da-doo.